Hello there, crafters. My name is Amanda Farlinger with From Where I Stamp, and I live near Kingston, Ontario in Canada. July is World Watercolour Month, and I love to watercolor. And this is my second video this week. If you missed Tuesdays, it'll show up at the end of this video that you can click on the end screen. And Watercolor Month is a great excuse to show you some tips and tricks for using the watercolor pencils. So Tuesday we used the water painters. Today we're going to use the watercolor pencils. And the card uses, or for the card, we're going to use the Yeti to Party stamp set. And it's so adorable. Like, look at this. Look, like right there. See, I love this little dudette, whichever. It's perfect for birthdays and for Christmas, so I'll share a card for each occasion. After some stamping, you'll see how to use the watercolor pencils to color in some images. Before we start crafting, I wanted to make sure you know that I share videos here on YouTube on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So hit subscribe and you'll be notified when my next video is loaded. There is also a blog post that pairs with this video. The link in the video description just below this video will have the link. It has pictures of the projects I've made today, along with a supply list. If you live in Canada and would like to order any of the supplies, I so appreciate it when you select me to be your demonstrator. So first up, we're just going to have a look here in the catalog. So this is the July, I wanted to say January, but we're not in January. We're in July. July to December mini catalog. And this Yeti to Party, I think, is adorable. And I love these extra little, not really extra, but these little icons that you could use for other things rather than just Christmas. So there's a tree. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It has Yeti to Party. It's your birthday. An ice cream cone and a heart, and a little bird, a cup of coffee or hot chocolate, and some presents. So perfect. And these cute little mountains, hills, whichever, they're adorable. So we're going to use the Yeti to Party stamp set. Now, this color combo I'm not sure on. Parakeet Party is a very bright green. And it's very bright. And then I have some shaded spruce and some craft. So these are our 6x6 craft paper pack. So it's a 6x6 craft that you can use for scrapbooking or card making or 3D projects. So I've just cut that down a little bit. And we're going to put that here with this over top. And we're going to do some die cutting, embossing, and some stamping. Okay, so in order to do some stamping, we have to do some die cutting. So I am going to be using, it's a little dusty, I am going to be using the larger embossing folder. So I've pulled out the big guns. This is the main Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I like using the mini machine on most of my videos because it's a lot more smaller and compact and a little bit easier to move around. So we have the tailor-made tags dies. Tailor-made tags dies. And I don't know if I've ever used them. I think I've had them for like a year because I was going to make Christmas tags last year. So let's see if I can maybe use them later this year. But we're going to use the second largest one here. Oops, you can't really see. And we're going to use some basic white. And we're going to die cut that. And after we die cut this, we'll do some stamping on it to make it Christmassy. I made another one for Instagram and made it birthday. So I'll show you that here in just a little bit. Just trying to put the die back on the magnet. There we go. So next up, we'll take that little die in a little piece, wherever it went. Got to keep that. So this shaded spruce will be embossed using the Whimsical Woodland. And I missed this embossing folder my first time through the catalog. And then I spied a card using this embossing folder. And the rest is history. So now to find the perfect spot. So I think right there. I'm going to say that's the perfect spot. Hinge in, always. Oh, whoops. I'm doing it wrong. Okay, this one's a 3D, so I need 3D plate, the specialty plate. And the nice thing about our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machines is the base, you get all the plates with the machine, but this base here, it tells you exactly what you need. So if you find that it's not going through, check the base for directions and double check what plates you're actually using. Okay, I don't think I need anything else from this. We're going to put that away over on my cart over there. Excuse me. And then we have this embossed part right there. Isn't that cool? Now, the card, I don't know if this is what they did. I think it's what they did. But it had some white. So we have the Whisper White pigment ink. Now it is craft, so it does take longer. And it is in the old style ink pad. We're going to take a sponge dauber. You could rake it over the, not rake. You could take this and kind of smoosh it over the whole thing if you wanted. But I'm just going to pick up some white craft ink and just lightly, because I want to put the white ink just on the raised part that I embossed. And I don't know if I have enough ink on my ink pad, but it's kind of working. Yeah, I get too much ink and now there's too much white, but that's okay. So each time you do this, it's going to look a little different because you'll put a little bit different amounts of white craft ink depending on how much ink you pick up or whatnot. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I just wanted a little bit. All right, put that away. And I did this first, so maybe it'll have a chance to dry. So isn't that neat? Just a little bit of detail. All right, so next up, we're going to stamp the sentiment. So the birthday card I'll show you in a minute. I used Get Yeti to Party. It's your birthday. This one we're going to make a Christmas card. So is it Christmas Yeti? So we're going to do that first. Oops, I already have it over here. I'm going to have my Simply Chamois so it's ready. I got to make sure that it's right side up because I tried to make a card earlier and I stamped it upside down, the birthday one. That's okay. So we want to put this up here, like so. Clean that. Come on. Close. There we go. So is it Christmas Yeti? Now the craft paper does stamp a little bit different. So I am finding that the black ink does seep out a little bit more. So if that's not something that you like the look of, then I would suggest to use a different base. So use some crumb cake instead of the craft. So since we have Parakeet Party, I want to stamp the Yeti on the card like the Yeti is coming in because they look like they're walking that way. So we're going to ink up this Yeti. And I smushed too hard because you can see I have way too much ink on that. So we want to be careful when stamping. So we want this little horn and the foot off the card. Like so. Something like that anyway. There. And the Yeti is coming on to the card. And I'll clean that later. Whoops. Okay. Before we do anything else, it's water pencil time. Watercolor pencils. Stampin' Up! Has 2 packs of watercolor pencils. And if you've watched any of my videos, you'll notice I use the stamp cases a lot. I love using them for storage. So you can buy a pack of 4 and just put them away. And then when you get something, just slide some stuff in there. It's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem. But this one here is Cherry Cobbler, Flirty Flamingo, Cajun Craze, Crushed Curry, Granny Apple Green, Garden Green, Coastal Cabana, Balmy Blue, Night of Navy, and Gorgeous Grape. And the other one has white and black in it. So if you wanted to use white or black, I would suggest you purchase the other one or both. But we're going to use this. And for this technique, we also will need a blender pen so that we can make it all watercolory. So I don't have Parakeet Party, but Granny Apple Green is closest. So we're going to color in our little Yeti just to give them a little definition. And we're just doing this really, really light. And I'm going to go in the same direction, so I don't want to change it. Like with the blends, if you've used Stampin' blends before, you can kind of go either which way. But the problem with a pencil is you do get kind of those lines. So if you're going to go left to right, make sure you stay left to right or up and down. So I'm going left to right here because I want to add some shading under the arm. Okay, now this is where the magic comes in. So we have this blender pen, and it's a clear liquid, and it will dry because you'll see the card getting wet. And what it is, it's smushing that card or that watercolor pencil around. Now it will pick up some of the ink, so you want to be careful along your ink lines. And you want to be careful not to go over it too many times. You may want to wait for it to dry before you go back in and add anything to the Yeti. So this is actually quite a bit bigger area than I've used in a while for this. Okay, now to clean your blender pen, because it does pick up the color, you just go back and forth on another piece of cardstock, whichever works. So there's our Yeti. Now, I'm just going to put this away. We're going to do some stamping. Now I am going to use Memento Black. If you're really concerned and putting a lot of liquid on something, use StazOn. If you're using StazOn, because it's a permanent ink on plastic, I think it's permanent. Anyway, there is a StazOn cleaner that you'll need to use to clean it off your stamps. All right, so I have a little Christmas tree and the little mountains. And yeah, so we're going to do that. So I think we'll do one here and one there. So little mountain and a little mountain. There we go. Clean those. Then we're going to put some trees. Now, I'm going to, instead of black, I'm going to do some Parakeet Party. Just the same color that we used for the Yeti. And you could get fancy and you could do some masking with your trees, so that way you get like a really good layered look. But I'm just filling in. Just fill in the spots with some green trees. Okay. Then this time we're going to take the garden green And we're going to put a little bit of garden green. Oops. Before I get my fingers covered in ink, we'll just clean that up. So I'm going to add a little bit of garden green to some of the trees. And that will mix in with some granny apple green. So we'll mix that in. And our blender pen will mix the two colors together. Now, the harder you press, the harder it will. I thought I broke my hand. I didn't. The harder you press down, the more color it will transfer. And to sharpen it, all you need is just a regular pencil sharpener. No fancy-dancy sharpener required. So now we just take our blender pen fill in our trees. See, it's a lot easier to see on basic white. See, you can kind of see the difference between this tree and that tree. So this one I use the blender pen on, and this one is just the pencils. So if you wanted to have kind of a more texture to whatever you're coloring in, you could leave the pencil crayons, like the watercolor pencils, exactly the way they are. So now, I did the garden green ones last, so that way I wasn't transferring color. So there's not a lot of difference, but there's just a little difference between it and that one. But not all trees look the same in the forest. And I don't know if you know, but pine trees are my favorite. So same thing, we want to wipe off. It hardly picked up anything. And let's see now. We have what colors again? Cajun Craze, Balmy Blue. Okay, we're going to do some Cajun Craze. Nope, that's wrong. This one. And what's this one? Balmy Blue. Okay, let's see if this works. Very light on the blue because I want to leave the snow-capped mountains. And then this one is Cajun Craze. I'm kind of going for a brownish color if I can. Like this is orange and that was blue. And let's see. A browny gray was what I was going for. And I think that worked. Okay, so since that worked, I'm going to color in the rest because I'm like, oh, maybe I messed it up. Oops. I'm not going to get too particular. I don't know if this is Balmy Blue. It looks a little dark for Balmy Blue. Whoops. You want to be careful with the basic white. Oops. Remember to clean it off, Amanda. So I did one thing that you're not supposed to do. Use the blender pen too much. See, I ripped the paper. That's okay. We're good. Thick basic white, or even better, shimmery white would be better for watercolor pencils and blender pens. Now I think we can put our card together. So we have our card, our craft, our tag, and our whisper whitish embossing folder piece. So let's put it all together. Now I find that the craft cardstock curls a bit. So instead of just putting ink on the four corners, put some type of glue along the edge. So we're going to put some of this liquid glue. It's my favorite adhesive. Gives me a moment to reposition the cardstock. So we want this over here. And it does cover up the Yeti's hand, but that's okay. Then we want our shaded spruce embossed piece. What do you think of this color combo? I think I like it. It could be for birthdays or for Christmas. We're using it for Christmas in this case, but you could do this for birthday. And don't worry, I'll show you the birthday card in just a minute. I wanted to get this all put together, and then I'll show you them side by side. So then we put some of these dimensionals. And these little mini dimensionals are perfect size, because then if you put too many, they're good. So, oops, come on, off you come. There we go. Move things out of my way. So here is the card, here is the tag, and we're going to put it. Do I want it like that? Like that? I think I like it like this. There we go. So we have our Yeti colored in with pencils and blender pens, our embossing folder with some white craft ink, our Christmas sentiment, and our little tag colored in with pencils. So the other card I made was this birthday card. So it used the same layout, same dimensions, same pieces, just different colors. So I used the pencils, the watercolor pencils, to color in these presents and the little banner. So which one's your favorite? The bright green one or the mint, the soft green? I thought I would like this one better, but I think this one's my favorite now. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as a reminder, the supply list of the products I've used on this card, which is the same as this card, except maybe the designer series paper, will be in the description of this video. We'll see you next week.